Morning, guys. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that's very, I know we're kind of in a really emotional mood right now, so I guess this topic goes with it, and it goes with justice and injustice of what people had to go through. We all know what AIDS is and what HIV is, right? It's a human immunodeficiency virus. HIV is a virus that is transmitted from person to person through exchange of body fluids such as semen and blood and etc. But do we ever think that someone else physically, without any sort of physical action, you can get AIDS? Well, no one had the question arise when, why was this the main source convicted when there were 438 children injected with HIV-tainted blood? Injected with blood. How do you get HIV? You know, sexually, or like I said, with blood or semen, but this was injected blood on 438 children who haven't even seen the world or who hasn't done anything wrong. And this was in Libya by Gaddafi, of course, like he was said. Gaddafi took 438 children as guinea pigs to use by injecting this tainted blood to see if they do come up with a solution on how they can cure the kids. So it'll be his high name on he was the cure of AIDS and HIV. So he gets the power and recognition that he cured AIDS. But things went a little wrong, and the main purpose behind this for him was to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Obviously, he's not getting it because he's not doing anything good. He kills people for no reason. He kills people for speaking their mind. He kills people for opening their mouth. But he wanted to get the Nobel Peace Prize in kind of not the original way, but to kind of go behind tracks. This episode began when the nurses arrived. These six, that is the doctor, the man, the Palestinian doctor, and all the rest of them are the five Bulgarian nurses that got convicted for this act. That because of them, in fact, they are the ones that actually injected the kids with the used syringes, and they had no idea what it was though. They thought they were curing the kids because that's what their oath is, right? Every nurse or doctor takes an oath before they become one to cure sick people, and that's what they did. This started in Benghazi, which is the country's second largest city in Libya. Few months later, children at the hospital, in fact, started getting really sick and started testing positive for AIDS. Now, that was weird, right? From before they came into the hospital, none of the kids have AIDS, and then when 6 of them come, everyone's having AIDS. So that's when the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, started suspecting, and they were just like, that does not make any sense. Why all of a sudden, and it's not even 5 kids, 10 kids, 50 kids. It was hundreds. It was in the hundreds of why the kids are getting AIDS all of a sudden. They had a major problem, and that's when they started investigating, and they were just going behind the scenes of what really happened. This is one of the child who was injected with the HIV. The 5 Bulgarian nurses and the Palestinian doctor stand accused of infecting them only because they were said to. And they weren't said that, oh, okay, the syringes have tainted blood. It's used syringes for one, and they're used blood of someone else who has AIDS. So what the doctors were, they were given these injections to be able to cure these kids because they have, as everyone knows how Libya is and other countries, they're in poverty, no food, no proper water to drink. So obviously you're going to get sick. So that's why there's so many hospitals, a lot of children hospitals in fact, that have a lot of very, very sick kids, but then the doctors aren't really curing them. All 6 defendants denied the charges but faced possible death sentence because they thought that they injected them, obviously. These are some of the pictures of them when they were in jail and being testified. It was 8 years they were in prison, and it was like month after month they had to come and give their confession and what went wrong and what happened and what was their story, what was said and stuff. It was a huge thing. The argument is simply that they did not and have any proof to back it up. No one had proof that they did it. You can't go back into the syringes and see that they, injected it back in there, but the WHO, like I said, the World Health Organization did go back and went back and back and back, dug in trash, and was able to actually get the used syringes, at least somewhat of them, to see and to prove that these 6 of them were actually honest and they didn't do. This is actually one of the babies that was injected. I mean, can you imagine a baby? What did a baby do? And this is the mom waiting at the hospital, just, waiting and waiting and waiting to see if there's any cure to be able to take their baby home and have a family. This is one of the main points in the case. If there's one thing that stands out is that the prosecution did not establish a motive. There wasn't really they came to court and it was just like, okay, 438 kids have AIDS. Is it because of 6 of y'all? Really, do you think just 6 people are really behind this major act? This was something the defense pointed in the closing arguments. The reason why these confessions from some of the nurses came was because they finally confessed that they were sexually harassed. All the women were raped in jail. And in fact, like I said earlier, this is his wife, that's his wife, and then the rest of them were all in one jail, in one cell, in this closed room, literally, from that wall to where I'm standing, 6 people in one cell. In fact, there were the sergeants and the head chefs or whatever. They raped all 6 of them, sexually harassed them, and the tortures they've been through. They were electrified by their toes. They were held by their toes and given shock up the whole body. Then when they would collapse, they would kick them in their heart to start pumping their heart up again, to start the torture all over again. So they've been through a lot. Asli, of course, falsely confessions. The healthcare system in Libya has no system. Hospitals use multiple uses of syringes like it's nothing. We in America, we go to a hospital and everything is just gloves and masks and everything, right away, it's in the trash, but it's right away in the trash. But for them in their hospitals, it is in the trash. But what outsourced they're doing is that they pick up the trash and then they go to different pharmacies, they clean it up and they sell it back out to different hospitals. And that's how they're making their money inside, by just using the used supplies, by just cleaning it up. We all know you can't use a needle more than once on one person, obviously. Before this case with the kids, there were 1,500 cases in Libya, just 1,500 of what was shown that had AIDS. And then after that is when, in Benghazi actually, of course, which is the largest city altogether. Initially, the prosecution claimed they never had HIV cases, but after these nurses and doctors started working is when AIDS started happening. They tested negative on AIDS, so it's nothing in them that they did, and put it on the kids. They just used these 6 nurses and doctor to get to the kids, and the main guy behind this was Gaddafi, because he wanted just to test. I mean, okay, if you really think about it, you could have only tested on 10 kids or 5, to try and see where you can get with this. But there were 438, and that was just 438 that was given in the news, and what really broke down everyone in France, in England, every reporter. There are so much stuff. If you really look this up on YouTube, there are movies and videos that are just really heartbreaking, heartbreaking. There was a reporter from England who actually went to Libya to look what was really happening and what was going on. It was just, and he couldn't say anything because he was in Libya, and Gaddafi is just smiling